Good evening, everyone. I am very pleased and honored to speak tonight because of all the love and support given to my husband and myself these last 5 years through Alzheimer's Society. Jeffrey Shaletta was my husband of 50 years, this August 28th, and we've had a long and relatively healthy life together. Geoff and I have a daughter, Marnie, married with two granddaughters, Brittany, 26, and JC, 20, and a grandson, Cody, 14. We have a son, Carrie, and a grandson, Darian, 19, and a granddaughter, Trinity, 14. Geoff was a kind and caring and very involved husband and father. He took care of his aged and my aged parents, helping wherever he could. We moved a lot because he and I enjoyed building homes together. Geoff was an electrician and a real techie when I married him, and after 6 years in the trade, Geoff entered UWO Teachers College and had a 35-year teaching career. Some background on Geoff's teaching career is that he was a technical teacher and advanced over the years, becoming a consultant in technology at the board office. Geoff was very involved with the professional development of teachers throughout his 35-year career with the London Board of Education. Geoff retired and began a 12-year electrical associate position at Home Depot until he was about 68. This involvement and experience led me to recognize that there was a decline in some of Geoff's technical and mathematical abilities. Geoff agreed to take a memory test, which was completed by a trained medical team in cognition at the Byron Medical Center. On the day of the test in February 2011, because he failed the TRAILS component, which covers quick reaction time, Geoff's driver's license was revoked. After consulting with our GP, Dr. Dana Winterburn, she advised us to come to the Alzheimer's Society, in which we found a profound body of loving, supportive people and many learning sessions for both of us to attend. A referral was made to Dr. Denny Wells, geriatrician at Parkwood, in November 2011. Dr. Wells deemed Geoff as having mixed dementia, which is vascular dementia and Alzheimer's disease. Geoff has had yearly visits with Dr. Wells, being tested with the MOCA, Montreal Cognitive Assessment, and the Mini-Mental. Geoff's scores have steadily declined over a 3-year period, but with the help of the memory-enhancing drug Reminol, he was able to remain steady in his mental acumen for about 3 years. During the last 4 years, Geoff has attended 3 days per week at the Alzheimer's Outreach Services of McCormick Home. A noticeable important event in May 2014 was that Geoff began a major decline. I was still not able to manage him at home, but every week the decline was becoming quite apparent, and I saw a lot of features that you suggested during that slide about urinary and constipation. The second very extreme event that happened on March 20, 2015 is when I returned home and found Geoff sitting on a stool at the entrance of our apartment talking gibberish, not knowing who I was, looking blank at me, physically reaching back and forth into the bottom of the closet and hallucinating by reaching out into midair. I freaked out because I had not seen Geoff like this before. I telephoned the EMS, and Geoff was taken to Vic Hospital emergency, and the medical staff kept saying that he will have an infection. There was no infection found after all the tests were examined, and after a 12-hour ordeal with 6 hours in the hallway with Geoff on a stretcher talking gibberish, reaching out into midair, not really knowing me, the emergency physician advised me that I needed some serious help at home. I told him that I had registered Geoff with Community Care Access, and Emerge released him home with me. I never heard the word delirium at all, so I trusted what the doctor said and felt that this was a normal process of Alzheimer's. I had a terrible time getting Geoff up to our apartment, as his legs and arms were very stiff and he was physically leaning back. I managed to get him to bed, and he slept throughout the night. I telephoned CCAC, and a nurse and an occupational therapist came to the house the next day. Geoff had begun to come around to normalcy. One week later, the same thing happened. 12 hours of gibberish, reaching out, sleeping a lot. Around 2 p.m., he snapped out of it again. We attended our GP on Monday at Byron Medical Center, and Dr. Kim seemed shocked that Geoff was sent from the hospital after the first incident, and stated to us that usually someone would stay in the hospital in this situation until being transferred to a nursing home. We were shocked, to say the least. I think Dr. Kim mentioned the word delirium, but not sure. A urine sample proved Geoff had an E. coli, and it was treated. On April 2, Geoff went into a delirium exhibiting some features, same features, gibberish and reaching out symptoms. I decided to wait it out, expecting him to snap out of it in the next day or two. It finally happened at 8 a.m. on Easter Monday, with this incident lasting 4 days in total. During the third day, I became concerned because of the longevity of this event and telephoned the CCAC and spoke to an emergency team member as my coordinator was away. It was not a positive experience, as I was made to feel that I was overreacting, and after explaining exactly what Geoff's symptoms were, the agent said, "This is what Alzheimer clients act like, isn't it?" I remember saying to her, "Not in the 5 years that I've lived with it." I felt very angry and consulted with my own coordinator on Tuesday, and she explained that CCA weekend staff just consult the client file and saw the word Alzheimer's. I told Kim that I thought it was a good thing that I have good self-esteem and knowledge about the disease, because the agent tore me down. Caretakers have enough to put up with dealing with the illness, and we don't need to be shuffled to the side to get us off the emergency telephone number, which is put into place to help us. I was so frustrated that I telephoned Rick Bunt, social worker, Alzheimer's Society, and we met. He was the person who identified delirium to me and explained it thoroughly to me. I appreciated being treated like a person. I mentioned to Rick that I noticed every time Geoff had a delirium, he deteriorated, and each episode had a compounding effect. Geoff gained strength during the week, but on Sunday, April 12th, he had chest pain, so back to Victoria emerged. Nothing was found wrong with him at all, and I took him home again at 1 a.m. What happened in the middle of the night on Tuesday at 5 a.m. was shocking to me. Geoff reared up out of bed and said he had to pee. I got out of bed to help him, and had been, as I've been doing for 3 to 4 times per night for months, and he turned on me, grabbing my wrists and holding me hostage in our living room for an hour. Geoff's eyes were blank. He seemed twice the size of his usual small stature and very strong, very threatening. I did not know who I was or what I represented to him. I totally did what he said, and he was watching me like I was prey. Finally, he went back to his bed and slept, and within 2 hours he snapped out of it, because at 7:30 a.m. that morning, I got him up, dressed, fed, and got him on the bus to McCormick Home day treatment without incident. Everything seemed fine, as nothing had happened. This was not unusual, as Geoff never remembered any of the incidents. That morning at 10 a.m., I telephoned my CCA coordinator explaining everything and stated that Geoff had to go to long-term care, as I was totally frightened of him. My belief is that if the aggression I experienced happened once, it would happen again. Kim came Friday, April 17th, and deemed Geoff completely incapacitated, and luckily for him and I, a bed became available at Chelsea Park Nursing Home, and he was admitted Wednesday, April 22nd. On admittance to Chelsea Park Nursing Home, Geoff was calm, cooperative, and affable during the first 2 weeks, but then he moved into 2 weeks of aggressive acts and had to be constant cared as he walked the halls all night and tore things off the walls. The GP, who is the medical doctor on the second floor at Chelsea Park, indicated that he was advised by a geriatrician that there was a lot more damage to Geoff's brain from the operation many years ago. Geoff had a benign meningioma removed 32 years ago by Dr. Hugh Barr at Victoria Hospital. It was indicated to me that Geoff's aggression was a result of his tumor and that Geoff was deemed frontal temporal. I was thrown totally for a loop. I asked the doctor directly, well, does Geoff have Alzheimer's and vascular dementia or not? And he stated no. Geoff's aggressive acts led to the medical team at Chelsea Park with my agreement to send him for admission to psychiatry on a Form 1. The Form 1 is used as a legal medical intervention, taking Geoff's personal rights and also spousal rights away. He was admitted to emerge at Victoria Hospital, where they found a pneumonia, and consequently admitted to psychiatry unit for assessment. During his 3-week stint in psychiatry unit, Geoff had no acts of aggression on the unit after pneumonia was treated. A full emotional and mental workup was completed in hospital, including a CT scan, and it was found that Geoff is experiencing regular TIAs, and there was a large portion of ischemia in Geoff's brain. With the shock of the GP from Chelsea Park centering on a diagnosis of FTD, it threw me into a terribly anxious and stressful 3 weeks with feelings of total fear of Geoff being blocked from returning to Chelsea Park. It was not total paranoia, as it is a known fact that facilities are not accepting or taking out of control clients. On Geoff's discharge from the hospital, after all reports were sent to Chelsea Park, they accepted him back. If a client is admitted to the hospital with a medical problem, the bed is held for 30 days. But if a client is admitted to psychiatry, then the bed is held at the home for 60 days. I met with the charge nurse and social worker and stridently confirmed with them that Geoff did not have frontal temporal, that the aggression was caused by pneumonia, and possibly it hadn't presented any symptoms at the home. I know there are not regular chest x-rays done at the home, so it was not found. I reiterated that all reports indicate that Geoff has vascular dementia and Alzheimer's. Geoff is continuing to decline at Chelsea Park, but the doctor has begun administering trazodone for Geoff's anxiety and Percocet for his back pain. Geoff is settling more. Geoff was moved on June 19th into a private room, and it is becoming a quiet haven for Geoff, as Geoff is very sensitive to noise and the other client's constant movement in unit. Thank God for small mercies. Also, Geoff is being quite sight impaired with dual cataracts, but both will be operated on at the IV by the end of the summer. Good news. Before the last paragraph happened, here is what was happening at the home. Since Geoff's return 2 weeks ago from the hospital, he had been experiencing sundowning, and he had been awake throughout evening well into the middle of the night. He was constant cared, and he keeps standing up, getting out of bed. His walking is very compromised, and the staff are afraid of falls. As a result, with everyone at him, Geoff's frustration level is heightened, saying things like, "I don't like it here," cries, wants to go home, and acts in a standoffish way with me, and doesn't believe that I love him. I feel as a caretaker that the sudden onset of delirium during period of March 20 to April 13th is the prelude of Geoff's very serious decline, and hence his aggressive act towards me. We also know that there is a real possibility of any type of infection can result in delirium, throwing people with this devastating disease into aggressive acts. I can start to cry. Very professional. Geoff has always been my rock throughout our married life. It has always been my loving mentor. Without his advice and tutelage, I find it very difficult dealing with the medical hierarchy, example physician CCAC, where I have to advocate for my husband's well-being, care, and safety, as well as being cognizant of others' safety. Geoff was a crusader for teachers' rights and a valiant negotiator. His life adage was, "Glenda, you get more with honey than you do with vinegar." He supported me and he taught me, and his lessons have done me well when I have to advocate for the love of my life.